You know, you can't camouflage an elephant for war, so you might as well dress him up. Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, with a project that has its genesis in a trip that I made to North Africa several years ago. I was visiting the ruins of ancient Carthage, and I became fascinated with the history of the Punic Wars, Hannibal, and the elephants that he used. My exploration of this area, together with all the information that's available to each of us online, led me on this journey of discovery. I recalled seeing some 3D files online on this topic, so I got home and searched them out, found what I had recalled, purchased and downloaded the files, loaded them into my 3D printer software, and a couple of hours later, I had the makings of this very interesting and very different project for this channel, which I hope you'll enjoy watching for the next 10 or 11 minutes. This is what a 3D print looks like with supports and all. All the parts have to be removed from the platen. I'm handling this carefully, and you can see that's about a palm-sized elephant. Took me a good 20 minutes or so to carefully remove each of the supports, taking great care not to damage the delicate features like the tusks and the tail of this one. I use water-soluble resin, so it's okay to handle after I've rinsed it. This is an absolutely perfect print. You notice some holes in the bottom of the feet. That's for any interior resin to leak out. And I've got these tiny warrior figurines with spears, bows, and arrows, and parts for the beginning of a diorama to set it all on. After an initial curing under some UV lights, I can proceed by applying a primer to all the printed pieces. I mixed up some Kaleido black and off-white to give me a darker gray for the elephant hide. That gets applied where necessary, using a swallowtail airbrush with a 0.5 millimeter needle. The PSI is set at just under 20. You'll see the elephant mounted with a couple of toothpicks in those footholes, which I push down into a piece of packing sponge, so that's a little more stable for the entirety of the painting process. Once that's dried up enough, I'm going to use a sponge application to put a little bit lighter gray on in dabs, which will give the elephant a more natural looking mottled color on the hide. Coming up on Maple Leaf Customs, you're going to see a return to the die-cast cars, which I haven't forsaken, starting with a shop truck, a revisiting of my Fury Road war rig to add a fuel pod, got a couple of racers coming up, and I want to remind everybody that you're invited to participate in the Porsche 6 build-off. It's an annual event to celebrate my channel's YouTube anniversary. I'm going to use this foray into miniature painting to do some hand brushing with the Kaleido primary colors paints. The Punic Wars were a series of wars fought between the Roman Republic and the Carthaginian Empire during the period 264 to 146 BC. The Carthaginian War Elephants played a significant role in those ancient battles. The formidable creatures were not native to Carthage, but their introduction transformed the Carthaginian military and left a lasting impact on Mediterranean history. Ancient Carthage, which is modern-day Tunisia, was initially a Phoenician colony without a strong tradition of land warfare. It was during the late 3rd century BC that the use of war elephants gained prominence in the region, influenced in part by the campaigns of Alexander the Great. Initially, Carthage imported a smaller, now extinct breed of elephants from the foothills of North Africa's Atlas Mountains. Despite the challenges of taming these massive creatures, Carthage successfully formed its own elephant corps within a decade. War elephants were not only awe-inspiring due to their size and ability to trample their way through any formation, but were also equipped for battle. They were defensively protected with cloaks, armor on vulnerable areas, and sometimes even helmets. So these 3D models are accurate in their depiction. If you're keen on this type of miniature model painting, then I want to introduce you to the YouTube channel Seventh Son, who I've discovered to be a very talented painter, and he likes the same kind of historic themes that I do, like these war elephants. Offensively, the human riders on the elephants' backs gained an elevated view of the battlefield while wielding various weapons, and larger elephants had citadels called howdahs, carrying more warriors with additional weaponry. In battle, the elephants would charge at the enemy with immense force, causing panic and disruption among any reasonable-thinking opponent. They could trample soldiers, gore troops with their tusks, and even pick up and smash cavalry with their trunks. However, being temperamental animals, they could also run amok, wreaking havoc in both directions, rendering casualties on each side. Carthaginian war elephants also played a crucial role in Hannibal's daring invasion of Rome during the Second Punic War in 218 BC. It was then that he led his army of 20,000 infantry, 6,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants, famously crossing the Alps in 24 days to invade Italy, where he achieved several stunning victories against Rome over the following 15 years. The legacy of Carthaginian war elephants extended beyond their time, as even the Romans adopted these mighty creatures from North African herds for their own military purposes. The story of these elephants highlights the dynamic and evolving nature of ancient warfare and the strategic adaptations made by ancient civilizations in the pursuit of military dominance. They've carved out a respected place in history. So my elephant has now been spray-painted, hand-brushed, and given some detailed decals to complete the look that I was after, based on several internet pictures, which are also part of somebody's imagination. I put some coat of arms on these shields that decorate the citadel. And now for the final highlights, like the steel rings and any of the buckles on the leather parts. A picture frame from the thrift store is just the right size and comes in on budget for a diorama. I remove the glass and put this piece of felt in its place. Return all the other parts for stiffness and support. That's going to suit my needs perfectly. This is the 3D printed piece that was part of the kit, but I want to fill that out to the edges of the picture frame. I'll do that by using some wall spackling, generously applied around all the edges. I'll put that in my dehydrator and let it stiffen up overnight. Once cured, it's back into the spray booth to cover the spackling with a similarly colored gray to emulate a rocky area. And some dusting over everything for authenticity. Final attention goes to the 4 or 5 3D printed warriors. I'm still using the Kaleido primary colored paints, trying to get some accurate skin tones for the original Carthaginians, and Hannibal picked up some Iberian soldiers along the routes that he conquered, and brightly colored uniforms. Pretty well all the same, so they look like a team out there. Now to affix everything to the diorama with some epoxy and glue. I've added a little bit of brush in there for realism. And now we can take a closer look. Remember, it's about a palm-sized project, which is about as big as I wanted to work on for my first miniature painting job. It's a 3D elephant and figurines and a scratch-built diorama. I think it captures the theme quite well. Tell me what you think with a respectful comment below. I hope you enjoyed watching this and taking in a bit of ancient warfare history. I invite you to come back soon and often for another Saturday video upload. It's coffee time.